Clear? Audio, video clear? All clear? Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishabhai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Saira. So, this loneliness to aloneness was dealt in a very subjective manner, taking the essence from a realized Master Swami Krishnanandaji Maharaj's article or talk, which is definitely very subtle, not so easy for everyone to follow. So, today, the aim will be to deal with this in an easier way, which can be grasped by one and all. Reference has been made to talk by Sri Osho and few masters, and mostly out of personal experience in the spiritual journey. Having suffered loneliness and having transcended loneliness to settle in aloneness of self. Loneliness occurs when social needs are not met. It is often triggered by life's challenges, lack of meaningful relationships, or feeling disconnected despite being around others. People, though they live in society, engaged in many activities, still Even if a close friend asks them, not all, many, even if a close friend asks them if they are suffering from loneliness, they may say, no, I am not. But inwardly, some or many would be suffering in some phase or the other in their life. They will be suffering from this loneliness, which they may not declare, they may not even agree. They feel alienated amongst others in the society, and this alienation, being alone, brings in this fear. So, loneliness turns out to be a suffering because of the fear. Once we are alienated from the society, we are gripped with the fear, unknown fear. And this fear makes loneliness a suffering. To avoid loneliness, we get into relationships, we get into organization, we get into many associations, politics, even religion at a surface level. We try so many things. Even perverted minds even take to gambling, alcohol, etc. In fact, if any one of you have ever experienced this, even when we walk alone in the night with very less light, when the atmosphere is dark, though we may never be a good singer at all, still we end up singing. This singing, we want to get lost in that singing so that the fear of loneliness, walking in a darker night, does not grip us. Many of us would have experienced this. Actually, loneliness does not have anything to do with our associations, our indulgence, etc. All these activities, all these involvements, indulgence, etc., they give only temporary relief. During the period in time in which you are involved in those activities, associations, relationships, etc. But inwardly, there is no transformation and the loneliness continues, it goes on. A saint appropriately said in Hindi, दुनिया में लाखों का मेला जुड़ा, हंस उड़ा तो बस अकेला उड़ा. Even when existing amidst a big crowd of mela, a big crowd, still when the bird flies, it is all alone. From where this loneliness arises? Fear of loneliness arises within our mind. And if you retrace people who have a bit of spiritual background, those who are into sadhana, they can relate to this line. Okay, loneliness is in mind. Shall I go a little deeper and see why this loneliness is arising in my mind? It is arising because of my identity with my body, mind, intellect. It is arising because of my identification as this jiva. Because of my body, it is the body, mind, it is the identification which causes the mind to feel lonely. Loneliness is like a dark hole, frightening. Sometimes, when somebody is really gripped with loneliness, it is like almost it is like a death itself. People, while being very active, though it is told already that any involvement in any relationship, association, politics, spiritual practice, etc., spiritual practice without knowing the purpose, all these things does not give us permanent relief from this loneliness. But while we are active and we are running in our youth and in our middle age till the time we reach the 60s, we don't realize this fear of loneliness. Sometimes we feel uncomfortable, but we are not able to clearly identify that it's because of my fear of loneliness. Why? We will come to it later. But definitely, when one catches the sick bed, when people around do not have time to spend with you, they are running. Like you ran in your 40s and 50s, they are now running. Their children are now running. When nobody has time for you, at that time, you are gripped with the fear of loneliness alone in your mind, and you feel day in and day out. And you curse yourself. Why I am still living? Why it is said that these relationships, entertainments, socializing, etc., are unable to drive away this loneliness? Why? Any relationship arising out of loneliness cannot be a blissful experience in the long run. Why? You are lonely and the other person is also lonely. Temporarily, when you come together, you feel that one can drive away the loneliness of the other. Two lonely person, two incomplete persons, two imperfect persons cannot drive away the loneliness of each other. One who is incomplete cannot give completion to the other. Very simple. Though apparently for some time infatuation, it may look that my loneliness is gone, all my fear, everything is gone when I am in the company of so and so. It's all infatuation. When things settle down, you feel that you are as you were before. Nothing has improved in your life. That's why all these relationships caused due to infatuation, they get cut off. You are incomplete, the other person is incomplete. You come together, you you think somehow filled with emotion and infatuation that you are perfect made for each other and you can drive away all the agonies of each other, but both are incomplete in themselves. How can an incomplete person give completion to the other person? Whatever you agattin alagu mugathil theriyum, or we say yad bhavam tad bhavati. Whatever you are inside, only that you can give outside. You can do a drama of giving something else to some other person which is not there in you, but that will be very short lived. Ultimately, when you get closer to each other, the real person in us, it gets revealed. When the insecurity in the relationship is not there, one comes to the other person reasonably closer together, then there is no insecurity. Then the real personality of each person gets revealed to the other person, and each feel, अरे कोई फर्क पड़ा ही नहीं मेरे जीवन में इससे, जैसे था वैसे ही हूं अभी. On a positive note, if we see, if you have ever observed a child, it will be giggling for no reasons. It will be laughing for no reasons. It will be smiling for no reason. And this is when it is in the cradle, very, very young. And when it starts crawling and it starts playing, most often it wants to play alone. It wants to be left alone. It is very happy when it is alone. So, that completion in the child, that happiness even when being alone in that child, that makes you happy. That drives away your fear, your loneliness, your pain for some moment. So, now positively we have understood that how a child which is happy in itself, which doesn't need to seek happiness outside, how in the company of that child one feels happy. Long ago, he gave that example of the song in the purpose of human birth. Palmanakkum parvatile unnai pol naan irundhen. பட்டாடை தொட்டிலே செட்டு போல் படுத்திருந்தேன் அந்நாளை நினைக்கையிலே என் மனதும் மாறுதல். We also change. உன்னை போல் தாவி வர என் மனமும் தாவுதடா. I feel like crawling like you. I feel like playing with you. I feel like laughing with you. I feel like smiling with you. I want to be as happy as you are, my child. This is how a complete person in itself, who doesn't need the world outside to make him happy, to drive away the so-called aloneness, how a complete person happy in himself or herself can fill the other person, whosoever it is, whether the other person agrees or not. But when they come into contact with the person who is complete in himself, they feel happy. They feel some completion. They may not be able to express that. So we have learned, except for God, that too during the transition period of God with form to God formless, during that period, except for God, any object outside us cannot drive away the pain, the misery, the fear of aloneness, loneliness within us. A, no object outside is permanent. B, no human being in himself or herself has is perfect, is complete. So logically, any impermanent object, non-living object, or any imperfect and incomplete living being cannot give us permanent, never changing, ever growing happiness, or they cannot drive away the fear of loneliness within us. Clear? Before we go, touch upon how to find that source within us to drive away this loneliness. A positive note here. This was given in the Satyam Jnanam Ananta Brahman session in 2012. If at all anyone who had attended that session is here, he doesn't know. Attending now also, they will remember. It was given somewhere in Kerala during the official trip from a hotel. Okay, we are having that incompletion within us, number one. Number two, outside object or relationship is not able to fill ourselves with lasting happiness or lasting relief from the fear of loneliness. All these things seem to be pessimistic, but there is a positive note in that hidden. Note very carefully. 1 in a million line is going to flow now. The very fact that our mind is not able to settle, or it is not able to find long lasting happiness or long lasting relief from the fear of aloneness, no matter how many times we have changed the object of pursuit, or we have changed, got into so many relationships. It could be any, not only infatuation with parents, with child, all relationships, except God. The very fact that none of these objects of none of these human beings or none of these relationships or none of these things existing objects outside us is able to give us a permanent solution to drive away our aloneness, or in larger terms are not unable to fill us with long lasting happiness, gives us a clue. Unless one gets deeper into spiritual sadhana, one will not experience this. So one who believe in the words of Guru, they should take it as it is, implicitly. because he has walked the path like you all, and then he has traveled and reached somewhere. The very fact of this feeling of incompletion in so many pursuit of happiness outside us reveal to us, or a master reveals to you today, that your soul is actually in search of God. Your soul is in search of, though restless, but still your soul is in rest, in search of that divinity, call it Atman, within you. What is the antonym of outside? It is inside. So when nothing outside is able to do the work, then that means you are, though like a monkey, your mind is jumping from one to another, one to another. At last, in one chosen birth, in one phase of life, in a chosen birth, like it was given in the Love is God session, you are bound to turn inward. You are bound to look towards God. Seriously. Not 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day. Seriously. By elimination process, all outside things have been eliminated. None of them have solved your problem of aloneness, loneliness, or your problem of misery or unhappiness or sorrow. So, this itself, continuous search itself leads you to believe that your soul is actually searching for that permanent source, which is God, or which is your own self, inner divinity within you. So we do the SWOT analysis in the management. No? Threats to be converted to opportunities. Similarly, here, even in this monkey like jumping from one relationship to another, there lies a secret that ultimately nothing is going to give you that happiness, and ultimately you are in one birth you are going to settle in that source, which is divinity, God, Ishvara, or ultimately it is your own inner self, inner divinity. How beautiful. So, what are the options for getting this permanent joy, which man is searching ever since his first birth? Though Raja Yoga is also there, though the path of karma is also there, we will focus briefly on the two paths, path of devotion and the path of wisdom. The path of devotion, bhakti. So that moment comes in our life that when that vacuum is felt and the futility of all objects outside in driving away the loneliness in our mind is realized and experienced, one looks towards God. Seriously. sincerely. Long before, in a center in Muscat, a satsang on Sai is our true companion, it was given. It was entirely based word by word on the definition of friendship given by Swami, where Swami said, I read out, friendship is the expression of unshakable love, love that is noble, pure, free from desire or egoism. And it was proven adequately and in depth as well that no one else but God, Sai, or your chosen God, any God, only God can pass the test of a true friend in this definition of friendship, true friendship. Nobody else in the world can pass the test in this definition. Expression of unshakable love, love that is noble, pure, free from desire or egoism. So the bhakta starts spending more and more time in God's discourses, kirtan, japa, mantra, temple visit, dhyana, reading the enchanting stories of God, Ramayana, Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Bhakti Sutra, etc. The devotion grows. He has found that bliss of happiness while involving himself in this devotion. So, the heart feels like spending more and more time in these spiritual activities. Earlier, also, he might have undertaken all these attending bhajans, etc., but at a very superficial level, because at that time he was in a make-believe world that this after this 10 minutes of or 1 hour per week of routine spiritual pursuit or bhajan attending or whatever, he was in a make-believe world that all other relationships, properties, job, power, etc. will give him all the permanent happiness and will not leave him alone. When all those that, like the child making the palace made of sand in a beach, gets washed off by a wave, when ultimately all this make-believe world gets shattered, now his involvement in